Thursday, everybody. Before we get Discreet on here and before we get our special guest, Cediced, on here, happy Born Day. We'll say it when he gets on here. And happy Born Day, of course, to Discreet's website, robdiscreetproductions.com. We're going to put that in the link today or in the comments today. Make sure you go check out robdiscreetproductions.com. He's got accessibility to his beats there. If you're an artist, you can buy the beats. robdiscreetproductions.com. The alien himself is going to be in here in a few minutes. We're going to have our special guest, Ceded, joining us live from Los Angeles here in a few minutes as well. So y'all be patient. We're a few minutes early. So that's right. The door is always open at the end of the day anyways, to come on and outside. So Mama Franklin, thank you for joining us today. We're going to have a really dope conversation with Ceded today. Also, we're going to have some really cool hip-hop history to speak on. And then our hot takes. We're talking rap and heavy metal fusion today. We're going to go ahead and bring Cedric on right now. Ceded coming on, and then we'll get. I'm adding you said, so be patient. Should bring you on here in a minute. There we go. All right.
Yo,
Hey, let's go. Can you hear me
what
okay?
it do?
Uh,
Yep.
All right, perfect. We'll get Discreet here in a minute. So while we're waiting to have
All
the
right.
show officially started, I know we just hopped off a call with you, make sure we were all locked in and good to go. I was just letting everybody know outside. Today, we're obviously going to spend some good time with you. And then after that, our hot takes, we're talking rap and heavy metal or metal fusion
Sheesh.
music, right?
Yep.
And then for anybody that doesn't know this, you're going to learn some history today. We are going to be speaking on Ice-T and Body Count's Cop Killer as the hot take of the week. So
Yep.
we're going to get real because that's what it is when we're outside, you know?
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
You excited for today, said, because I'll
Oh
tell you
yeah,
this,
man.
we're
Yeah,
excited.
man.
It's really dope with Discreet and I, with all the people such as yourself that we get to get to speak with and have conversations with. It's nice to be able to, as we like to call it, either discover new music or rediscover some music or learn more about somebody's music that we already know as well. And everything that we do is rooted in hip hop, and the ones that really know where hip hop and all American music really came from. We're about to get Discreet on here, and that's what
Let's
it's
get it.
about with us, and it's really what you want it to be. As long as it's staying rooted in the message and foundation of what that culture is, right?
Oh yeah.
What's
So,
up?
what up, Discreet?
Hey,
So that's why it's really cool just to get to talk to
What's up, Sadie?
about so many
what's
You good,
different
going
bro?
on?
things,
Can you hear me better now?
Yep.
Cool.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
we're good. Alien, I was also letting them know before you and Ceded hopped on, before we give a formal introduction. I wanna say happy Born Day to
Ooh,
robdiscreetproductions.com.
man.
Thank you, bro.
That's
Thank
what
you.
I want to do. So everybody, and I mean everybody tuning into this right now live, or when you're seeing this after the fact, you need to go to Rob Discreet. We're going to put it in the comments today. So I will say it again, robdiscreetproductions.com. The website is up. It is live. You have access to so much alien information, including exclusive beats from outer space. I'm
yeah.
telling you so.
Already been getting emails, well, within hours of it going up. I was
Let's go.
so proud. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go,
So
man.
that's what's up. So I had to
Yeah.
stop real quick and give a shameless
Thank you
plug
so
to Alien.
much, Mike. Thank you, man.
Bro,
Thank
man,
you.
come on now.
Mhm.
But without further ado, we are outside with Cediced. I mean,
Exactly.
Hey.
this is very exciting. This is very
Yes.
exciting. We have a lot of conversation to have today, a lot of questions that we're going to have for you. But before we get right there, I want to remind everybody, if you're tapping in again with us, or most importantly, if you're tuning in for the first time, We Outside is a live cast that is rooted in hip hop and realness and the message that comes with that. And that could be anything that you want, as I was just saying to Ceded before Discreet hopped on. Hip hop could be anything that you want it to be, right? As long as the intent of the message and the culture and the foundation of where that came from That's what it's about. And that's why it's cool to get to speak to individuals such as Ceded or Sasha
Definitely.
Stone that we've had before, who's not necessarily a hip hop artist, but she's making hip hop tracks. And again, the music that she really is down with taps into that and that culture as well.
Exactly.
So we're excited to have you outside today. We keep it real. We may joke around. We're gonna have some organic conversation. We're gonna have some real conversation. You're welcome to ask us questions as well throughout this conversation,
All right.
said. So,
All right, that's
all
fair.
right,
That's
all right.
fair. Let's go.
So, without further ado,
Man,
ladies and gentlemen, joining us and opening that door today, we got Cediced. He is an artist based out of Los Angeles and originally from Chino Hills, if I saw that correctly.
that's correct. That's correct, man.
There you go. And I could sit here and there's a lot of things that he does. So I'm going to pass it over to him and really let him, in his own words, introduce himself and what he's capable of, because he plays damn near every instrument. Man, you just go ahead, bro, because I don't want to mess anything up, bro. I want you to tell the people outside. This is your story, your show today. I want the people to
Yes,
hear
sir.
from you directly.
Yes, sir. So Ceded, aka Ceded Beats, it's my producer name. I've been playing drums. That's my first love for, I would say, close to 20 years now, maybe a little bit longer than 20 years. So
Wow.
that's my pocket instrument. Started off on congas, then went to drums in the church. I played bass, guitar, piano, ukulele, on the vocals as well too. Engineer my own music. So I've been, around the horn doing everything, and finally got into a space where it's like, why not just create my own music? Like,
Exactly.
so now it's been that adventure of the solo project, mixing and mastering all my own stuff, producing everything, and really, like, because of my background in the church and also in a metal band, which we'll get into that a little bit later. I'm able to actually infuse different types of music, and it keeps it fresh, to where it's not like this mundane, like a lot of the cats are doing nowadays, which they're just copy pasting what other artists are doing. I'm trying over here just to create my own sound and just be away from the noise and just penetrate through with something different.
Exactly.
I can very much appreciate
Yeah.
that. And you know what? It's funny the way you describe that, because Discreet, who just said that recently to us on our recent show, like literally our last show.
Yes.
Oh,
Joe Black
let's
said
go.
the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, shout out to Joe Black. I mean,
Oh, he's a dope
it's
artist, isn't
it's about being innovative and authentic, and
he? Yeah.
that's I appreciate everything that you said in that statement there. Said, but I think the thing that stuck out to me the most, I think, and I appreciated the most out of all of it, was the fact that you're really staying true to innovation and authenticity, and that's what separates true artists from people who kind of like, let's just call it what it is. Let's call a spade, like someone who's just trying to copycat or just do the same, like like I know in some aspects, depending what your goal in music is, right? Don't reinvent the wheel, but at the same time, you can still put you and your authenticity onto it as well.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely, man.
If that's the
For
direction
real.
that one wants to go to. So I got a quick two-part question for you, just to jump right out of the gate.
All right.
How long is a whole? I mean, you mentioned, obviously, you've been playing with drums. That's your pocket instrument for about 20 years plus at this point. So many other instruments that you play. From the standpoint of making music as a whole, when you really kind of started out, like really getting into making music, how long has it been that you've been doing that? And then how long has it been since, as you kind of put it there towards the end in your own self-introduction, that you've actually been creating and making music, focusing on music for yourself?
For myself. So it was a little bit before the pandemic. I started dabbling into making my own beats and all that. And then during the pandemic is really when I honed in on the true artistry, because I actually was going through every genre. Like I made a country song, made a reggae song, made a metal song, R&B, to like old school, like, that Motown type, and, just went through everything and just kind of saw and just put it out there and saw how people reacted to it. So once I did that, I kind of took like the top three that people were vibing with, and then I infused all those together.
Like that.
So yeah, so
That's
I
a
kind
good
of did like a
idea.
little
I like
litmus
that.
test.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that.
I like that.
Yeah. See what the people want. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, too. Like, I want to be able to connect where the people are at, and see what more they want from me. And bring that out.
Exactly.
And that's
So.
what artistry is all about, right? It's like, because you know, I know, like being a new artist myself, I know that I'm not going to make music that everybody's going to like, that everybody's going to relate to the message, and I'm
Same.
okay, and I'm okay with that. Like I know that I have enough emotional intelligence and just natural general intelligence and common sense. That's not how it works, right?
Exactly.
So I really appreciate that about artists such as yourself that are like, yo, that's how it's going to be anyways. If I'm going to be authentic in my messaging and my music as a whole, why don't I really make something that's new and different and has not been heard before? Because that's true artistry, at least in my opinion. Again, everybody opinions are
I
like
feel it.
assholes. Everybody's got one.
Ah,
But for
let's go.
me, there's also the person who thought they were on the toilet and shit on the floor, but that's another story for another day.
Hey.
But for me, let me get off my soapbox real quick, okay?
Oh,
That's
good.
where it's at for me as in the true sense of artistry. Not to call somebody an artist who's not doing that, but like just like creating something from absolutely nothing. That's just beautiful to me. It's like creating the closest thing that you can get to creating life, right?
Yeah.
Man, for real, yeah, yeah. Except this one will last forever, you know.
And it's,
This
I
one
always say, don't on
lasts
mic,
forever.
it's the ripple effect. You put your music out there, and then you don't even know how many people you're making happy. And then they might say, hey, listen to this. And then that person likes it. And that's a ripple effect.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? A positive one.
Yeah, I feel that. I like
Absolutely.
that ripple effect, man.
Isn't it?
Yep, yep. We making waves out here,
Isn't
man. We
it?
making waves.
Exactly.
Seti, I got another question for you.
Oh yeah.
What's do you kind of have a standard process when you go into a record, or is it kind of like you just feel it out and where it takes you, it kind of just takes you, or do you have some kind of foundation where you're like, I'm going to start here, then I'm going to do this, or do you kind of just let it go?
Yeah. See, that's a great question, and it's actually evolved over the years. My process, because knowing that I play drums, like I started off with the drums first. That was, my thing, and then I realized, like over time, like I can make a drum beat to anything. So let me start off the other way. So now I'll do drums last, but also in the regard to the creative process of what I'm gonna make for that day. I try not to fight where I'm at, like in my head, like wherever I'm at emotionally, how I'm feeling. I take that and I try to amplify that. So that way I am right in the pocket emotionally of, what I need to hit. So rather than for me to say, oh, today I'm going to make this type of beat or this, like I've done that. Like, don't get me wrong, but I feel as far as authenticity, vibe, um, something that people can relate to, connectivity and all of that, if I'm my most authentic self in that moment in creation, to where it doesn't feel like it's forced but it's just that natural flow, that's where I'm going to get the best results. So I stay out of my way, as far as like what I want to do, and just kind of let it flow. So I'll usually start off maybe with the guitar or the piano for that day, whatever I'm really feeling, and then usually it's drums and bass last, and get that knock. I mean, that's easy for me to do. So like I think definitely my process evolving in that regard has helped me to actually make more music, because my process is now faster. I'm not limiting myself in any type of creative capacity because it's just flowing the way it should. Yeah.
Like that. It almost gets to a point where it's like breathing almost like, there's
Yeah.
definitely times where you're gonna have to consciously breathe because you just ran a mile or
Hi.
whatever. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
not me, I'm not running a mile. I'll go lift some weights and shit, but you ain't gonna see me running a mile like that. But you do, and certain, and I think that's with everything in life, right? Anything that we do in general or we're a part of, there's gonna be days where you have to get that extra effort, that further intent. Um,
Yep.
I guess you could say, that the extra push, that extra
Yeah.
discipline,
Hmm.
which separates from the people who are, maybe just doing this for, in the long run, they'll come to find out in their own terms, in their own time, as a hobby, as compared
Yeah.
to like, yeah, I'm really trying to like make something of this, whatever that is, whether it's to sell records or make money or just to go out perform,
Hmm.
because there's so many reasons people do it, right? But that's the cool thing about it. It
Yeah.
could take you anywhere that you really want to go.
I have periods sometimes where you just feel you feel low and you haven't got the enthusiasm to create. But I'm very quick to be aware of it. I realise very quickly what's going on. And I think, so what are you going to do, Rob? Are you going to push through it? Or do you want to just stay here tonight? Do you know what I mean? In that mood. But it's always best to just be aware of how you're feeling, I think. Be aware of it.
Yeah,
it sounds easy. It sounds an easy concept, but a lot of people aren't aware that they might be in a bad mood, and they're not really aware. They don't look at themselves and say, "I'm in a bad mood." They just go for the day in the bad mood. Do you know what I mean? But it's like if you can say, "Oh man, I'm really in a bad mood today, and I might be affecting people," so then you change yourself for the day if you're aware of it. It's simple, but it ain't, if you know what I mean.
No, I definitely agree with that, because you get in your own way real quick on this
too right.
Stuff. Sometimes you just have to, have that self-realization, that come to Jesus moment, if you will. It's like, okay, I'm in a bad mood. And that's why I kind of like let my emotions guide me, if anything, because I'll take that bad mood and then flip it, because now the whole song might be talking shit on a female ex, something like that, or like a situation that happened that day, and it now becomes more of a therapy for me, because now I can release that emotion and actually be with it to where I can deal with it and know that, okay,
was that like the sort of process with your song Attention?
Attention, yes.
I love that song. I love that song.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people can relate to that, because
I do heavily. Like so relatable, relatable it is to me. Well, my ex that was her thing. She wanted attention, not just from me, but from everyone else.
Yeah. A lot of people are all hungry after these likes from strangers. And this and
that's what she was on the internet all the time, and I was blinded by her beauty and how good she was in bed. But it took me 8 months to think, Rob, fuck
that
this
happens
shit.
sometimes, Discreet.
Get out.
That happens when you're in Earth sometimes.
That 8 months, that 8 months felt like 8 years. I'm telling you. It did.
My man, he said.
It really did.
That's real.
No.
That's real.
Like, but I love Attention. It's one of them songs that remind me of them times, but not in a, you know what I mean? But I love the song. I don't want to make it sound bad, if you know what I mean.
No, it's
part of my life.
Subject that we all are going through.
Yeah.
So it's just
it's a period of my life.
Yeah. And some people don't even notice, and they're just like, wait, hold on. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, he doing the same? Because go both ways, guys and girls.
Exactly the same goes for your song with Illness. It's all right.
Yep.
Love, same reasons, basically.
Yeah.
Two
brilliant songs.
Well, I think what I took out of that, and what I thought was dope, what you said there, Ceddy, is the fact that you can take something that some would maybe perceive it as a negative. Maybe in the moment it's a negative to you, and you have a choice, right? You can allow that negativity in, or kind of like you said, you can turn it, essentially to a positivity ball, if you will, like process what you need to out of it for that learning experience, but turn it into something. And it's funny because I just did that 2 days ago, yesterday, Discreet. Was it 2 days ago? There were a couple dudes out there just hating on people in general, just hating in general, and I was just like, I was in a moment where I don't have, I got some things that I'm working on, but I wasn't working on something in the moment, right? But I was feeling creative, right? And I was just like, I was sitting there, and I wasn't talking shit. I was just trying to be more enlightening, right? But then both these people just kept going. And I was like, well, man, I can't get through to these motherfuckers. But I was like, I need to talk to somebody. So I was like, let me go talk to the mic. So I did, because I was like, I could have just been like, yo, fuck you. You're an asshole. You're stupid. You're unintelligent. You're blah, blah, blah. And I turned it in. I was like, you know what? It's just a feeling that I have about people like this as a whole. So let me just generalize that, my feelings that I'm having right now in the moment, instead of let that negativity, kind of just creep in little by little. I was like, let me just get it the fuck out. And it's done. And it's done. It's not
Right?
here festering two
Healing,
days later.
man.
I'm laughing, smiling, and having a joke about it because I said what I needed to say, and I leave it in the past.
Exactly.
It's
That's word.
beautiful what
That's
music
word.
could do for you. It's
Oh
Oh,
man.
that's what I think.
Yep.
Like
I said
music.
um
music therapy, man. Music
Yeah.
therapy. You know.
absolutely.
And
I have a question. Definitely have a question. This question I want to ask for you. It might end up being kind of like a two-parted question, if you will,
Okay.
because Discreet brought up obviously the track that you've done with Illness. So my question to you is, um, you've made pretty much all your own music. You've made music for other people. You've made music with other people.
Mm-hmm.
If you're bringing somebody into one of your projects now,
Mm-hmm.
what's that? I don't want to call it like creative control or anything like that, but what's kind of the balance? Let's call it the balance for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And working with that artist to allow them their creative freedom, but still allowing it, the best way that you could ever hope for it to fit into the vibe and the message of that specific track or project that you're working on.
Oh man, there's a couple criteria first and foremost for the collabs that I do. So usually like so say if I do a collab, there's gonna be pretty much the creative process. Obviously, I'll make something and then I'll have it with somebody else in mind as well, like knowing that artist, what they're capable of, and going from there. So it could be we're cooking up in the studio together, and then I'm making something right on the spot. We're both vibing at the same time. And then the key is to come up both with the same concept and talk about it first. So if, we end up, someone just comes up with the hook, all right, well, explain that, what that means to you. So I know in depth, what my verse is going to entitle, what's going to be like, and vice versa, whoever goes first. Sometimes I'll make a track and they'll just be like an open verse. And I'll be like, you know what? I have this artist in mind. And as far as creative control, as long as they're talking about the subject, I rather not control an artist's creativity. I want them to be their own unique self. Um, I'm not trying to get an artist on there that sounds exactly like me or try to fit in the mold of what I'm doing. I want them to be able to do their own thing and rock it because
yeah,
that's why I messed with them. That's why I fuck with them in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
with
I'm the
that,
same.
like yeah.
Mm.
And illness, yeah. In the case of illness, man, dope artist. I know that he's deep, in all of his messages and everything, conscious. So when it comes to like just making something, I'm just like, oh yeah, wait, oh yeah, illness would be dope on this. And we got a lot of tracks we haven't even released. Actually hopped on a few of Discreet's
Um,
tracks as well. So
oh
yeah.
shit.
So
Oh
there's
boy.
there's some you
Oh
haven't.
boy.
I
Uh,
don't know if you heard or not, but it's
no.
yeah, man. We got like a vault
Illness
going
has
right
got
now.
so many tracks that he
Yeah,
hasn't worked on yet of mine. So, and I'm always
yeah.
excited for what Illness is going to put out next.
Oh yeah,
Always.
we've got tracks on tracks right now. I want to say we're
Uh,
around 8 tracks right now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So yeah, and there's some stuff you haven't heard, like some heat.
I'm
Like
telling
oh
you,
man,
people who've
man.
never listened to
Oof.
Cediced, I'm
Oof.
telling you, there's reason to be excited about this. And Illness. Do you know what I mean? These two together? Ooh.
So I have to ask a direct follow-up question to that.
Yes,
Since you said y'all got about 8 tracks right now,
yeah.
Mm.
are there going to be more, and are we going to see a collaboration album maybe coming from the two of you?
So
Since y'all got so much music going on,
Mm.
what's the plan? Because hey, man, I'm gonna be real with you, Ceddy. Like we've
yeah,
like met recently, like, but you can't hold back 8 plus potentially
right.
Cediced tracks from the world, not
It's
just from me. I'm saying from the world. You can't do that to us,
so
bro.
so it's been hard, man. I'm not even gonna hold you. It's been hard. So like what we've been doing, we're planning to make an album, like a collab album, right? And then so we have these songs, and then Illness will hit me up and be like, "Hey, can I just put this one out on this next record I'm going?" So like we're taking song, like we have a song stacked up, and then we keep taking songs out, like you know. So it's just like, oh, okay, now we got to make
That
more.
goes to show
So
they're brilliant.
yeah,
Yep.
so so it's been hard. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Mm.
He's like, oh man, no, this will fit perfectly in my next, album or whatever. I'm just
Yeah.
like, you know what? Honestly, if you feel that it's right, man, let's just do it because we can make more.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
but at the same time,
Damn.
there's some like there's one that's called Dead that I've been holding on for 2 years.
Damn.
2 years. Like, you don't hold on to a song for 2 years. Like, that's, yeah.
Yo,
You feel
illness,
like,
if you're watching, we might need
yeah,
to bring you on today, bro. Like, if you're seeing this
I
at
yo,
all,
tell you,
yo,
I'll
because,
tell you something. I've got tracks with illness that have never been released
yeah, oh,
because
man,
he won't let me.
yeah,
And he's like, nope, that's not going out. And they're brilliant.
oh,
They're brilliant
man,
tracks. But
man,
I've got to, I've got to keep my word to him. They've never gone out. I forgot about them. It's been that long. But Ceddy just reminded me. It's like, yeah, shit, I've got
oh, man.
tracks as well. They've
You're like,
never
hold
come
up,
out.
man.
yo, that's
It's all about
crazy.
timing, though. It's all about timing because,
Exactly.
something that you make in the moment might not be fit for the
Exactly.
right now, but,
Isn't it?
you know,
But
That's
yeah,
oh,
it's crazy.
that's dope.
yeah,
That's really really dope. You
yeah,
Seti,
man.
I get to see you do a lot of performing from what I gather to see. How
Oh,
off
yeah,
how
yeah.
often are you getting out on a weekly basis to get out there and spread the beautiful music that you got to share with
Oh,
people out there,
man.
man?
This summer, it was at least once a week, sometimes 2 and 3 times. And then now that, summer's over, I got little kid things, where I got,
Of
kids
course.
in school, all of that, daddy daycare. So, I've been slowing down a little bit. So it's been like every couple of weeks I've been doing shows. Sometimes I'll just pop out to events, and then, just do like 1 or 2 songs, versus like the whole, like my last event, it was a 35-minute set, you know.
Damn.
Yeah, and I'll have my homies roll out to, to the events. And like this last show, there's 2 songs that are unreleased. 2 of my homies like rolled up, and I was like, "All right, bet. Hey, you guys are performing tonight." They're like, "What?" Like, so I just put them on, like, "Hey, we're
No
doing this.
way.
Like, ready or not?" Like, you
Let's
know,
go. Let's
Here
yeah,
we
go.
go.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
like that.
I love doing that. And then I also recently was on America's Got Talent.
Oh,
So
damn.
yeah, tried out, made it to the judges round. Like, I mean, met Simon, Heidi,
That's
all
what's
of
up.
them. We actually made the top 75 out of 80,000 people. Yeah, like
Damn. Well
they
done, Seth.
filmed,
Wow.
yeah, they
Man,
straight up filmed our
that's
Yeah.
performance to be
congratulations.
aired.
Yeah.
Like, but they didn't air it. But
Man.
Yeah.
it is what it is.
We don't have to talk a lot on it, but
Yeah,
just in general, what was that
yeah.
experience like for you? And what's maybe if you could pick just one thing, what's one thing that you took out of going through that experience? Because that's an
Oh,
experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really, without saying too much, it helped me to realize what the industry is like and how they do procure certain things beyond just the talent, because there's so much more than just talent nowadays. Just for instance, even record labels, they're not developing artists no more. They want you to already be on and popping type
Yeah.
situation. So like if you're not popping, they're like, oh, we're not going to take the risk of artist development. We want someone that's already, whether you're good or not, whether it's a gimmick or not, they'll take what's popping and flip that, make that easy buck.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
So, ladies and
just
gentlemen, that's option A. Option B is Diddy parties.
Yeah.
ah, shoot. Either way, you're getting exploited. Oh man,
I know, yeah.
might be too soon, but watch
I
your
know.
assholes. Goddamn,
I know.
Or the
goddamn.
real way to do it, like a G. Do it
Yeah,
option C. Put the grind in, be authentic. Put the
yeah,
love
yeah,
Independent.
behind it, man. Like and to your
yeah,
point, Discreet, yeah, but be independent. Like there's so
Mm.
many people. I mean, and that's man. I'm just gonna go on a soapbox for a second. That's with anything anybody ever does as an entrepreneur. Because as musicians, that's what we are. We are entrepreneurs, right?
Mm.
Like if you, I
Yeah.
mean, there's the creative side of it, but there's the business side of it as well. And if you're not lucky enough to have one of those teams around you or somebody just to throw money behind you nonstop,
Exactly.
you've got to put the
yeah,
work in like any other business, and you've got to build your brand. You've got to market yourself because you could. I'm telling you, man, there are so many people in history that we have not heard ever and have probably
oh,
been the dopest singer, the dopest rapper, the dopest bassist, drummer, whatever. That would have been like Beethoven-esque type shit, right?
Mm.
But they never
mm-hmm,
ended up getting their chance because not because they didn't have the talent or the support, but because they weren't willing to really and truly put the work in themselves.
Mm.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
man,
So
yeah.
sorry, I'm gonna get
You
off my
got it.
soapbox. I
No,
needed
no,
to say
it's
that
good.
real
No,
quick.
that's what people need to hear. Like, cause
Mm.
really, like at the end of the day, like if you're not marketing yourself like a business, like you think, what McDonald's, they're still running commercials. Everybody know who McDonald's is, but they still put the money into advertisement. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you got to run it like a legit business, advertising, all that. Like, I know a lot of artists that'll just put music out there and just be like, all right, it's out in the world, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, you got to do more than that. Like, you got to
If
literally
you want it to
promote
go
it.
somewhere.
Yeah. And there's a lot of songs that don't even break the first year.
Hmm.
It might be
No.
years afterwards. But if you give up on the song, you might not never get a chance, and you
Mm.
might be right there too, right about to break. You know, so
It's
definitely it's good to put in work.
No, I think you make a very interesting point as well, because some people just kind of give up. In this case, we're using a song as a scenario. If it doesn't break in that first year or so, maybe you just, whatever, you didn't market it right. Maybe the timing wasn't right, like you were talking about earlier. But the point is, maybe try it in a different way 2 years down the road, 3 years, because there have been tracks out there that have been released before, but maybe haven't like really became a hit until like 8, 9, 10 years later.
Mm.
There's
Yeah.
some that have obviously not taken that long either, but spin it back around if you put the right stuff behind it.
Mm.
You just got to be intentful with
And
it.
sometimes it's like just got to get very, very lucky. It's like I've got this one particular song off my Galactic Guidelines album, right? And there's this
Hmm.
one track on there that went crazy, and I tracked it down, and it was someone in Finland, and they play it
Mm.
all the fucking time, and it's
Okay.
probably my most played track. But I think it's just this one person in Finland. Do you know what I mean? But it's just
Hey.
crazy where your music can get to and what ear it can get down, and then
Hmm.
how much someone can love a certain song. But do you know what I
Hey,
mean?
shout out Finland. Shout
Yeah,
out Finland.
exactly. Yeah,
Man,
because I
oh,
wondered when I seen it, I was like, Finland, where's this come from? And I just done some research and it was found out what track it was, and yeah, crazy. This is crazy.
well, that's the beautiful thing, especially today's day, because we talked about this on a past show.
Mm,
What are like the pros and cons of music being so accessible in the standpoint that anybody can just load anything up. But what's
mm,
cool is
Hmm.
anybody anywhere can hear your music.
yeah.
Yep.
So there anything in life, there's pros and cons to.
Mm,
Um, so I'm with that. So before I went off on my soapbox, we were talking about performing. I want to kind of ask a quick follow-up question,
Oh yeah.
Seti, to about performing. Every artist appreciates something maybe different about performing. What's one thing that you really appreciate that you're like, yo, I just love getting up on the stage and doing this because whatever. Or, what is that for you?
For me, really, so like a lot of the songs therapy for me. So to be able to express myself like in a public setting. Now for me, just to rewind it back real quick, I'm the only child, man. I'm not used to like
mm,
sharing, you know.
yeah.
Uh, so for
Hmm.
me to be able to share something so deep, so intimate, such as music, it really gives me like the most gratification. And to be in a live setting to where
Mm,
you're feeling the energies, with someone streaming it, like, they're not going to feel the same energy as like a live performance, and you're not going to feel that reciprocation as much,
Mhm.
but when you're in that live setting, and then all of a sudden you have people singing along with you, vibing with you, and, really just reciprocating, what you're
mm.
actually, saying. And it's just like, wow, like, okay, this makes me want to push harder. This makes me want to go and,
It's the
just keep doing it.
amazing thing, isn't it, where just once
Yeah.
upon a time that was in your imagination, and
Yeah.
now in front of you you've got people singing it back to you, and I think that's what you're talking about, right? And it's just the
Yeah.
whole like this is crazy.
Yeah. 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 It's just one of the greatest feelings, man. Like,
Mm,
I
mm,
love performing. I've been performing since I was like was it junior high? Because I started on a praise and worship team, So doing that every Sunday, to being in a metal band, to being in like this singing group. It was called Young and Vicious. So I was like the hook man. And, we would go on stage and I would just be performing all the hooks. And then to
Okay.
now just doing my own stuff, like, yeah, it's something I don't think I'll ever stop. Like, as long as I can two
no.
step still, I'll be on stage with the walker. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, all right, let's go. You know,
I can
my
appreciate that.
grandpa beats. Grandpa
Innit?
beats.
Hey man, that's a beautiful thing. If you're out
Yeah,
there and being able to do that and you're loving what you do, who cares where you're doing it, how you're doing it, how
I
old you are when you're doing it,
I
right?
think
Like
I'll be
life
doing it as
is about
long as I'm
happiness.
able. I think I'll be doing it as
yes.
long as I'm able to. I really do. I
Well,
love it that much.
sir.
when you care about it and you have so much passion about it and truly love
Mm,
something as much as we all do when it comes to music,
mm,
it's a part of you because you know
yeah,
one thing that
Yes.
I really appreciate about performing, whether performing myself or you know, going to see other live performances, like I really take the appreciation from the fact that an artist, every time that they are performing for you, they're giving a piece of themselves away. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
that's some real shit right there. Like they're sharing, like people who write their real shit, authentic shit, especially when there's, you know, whatever experiences they've got, they're literally performing a piece of their life for you. Like that's
Yep.
you can't even get
Yep.
that shit in the movies. You cannot even get that
exactly.
shit. And look how much many millions and millions and millions of dollars they do to do all this CGI bullshit. You cannot get this. That's like a mini hot take built into the
Mm,
show.
Huh.
You
Let's
cannot get the
go.
same feeling that you get at a live performance when someone's truly giving you them,
yeah,
you know, a piece of themselves to you.
exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
Man,
I've
the greatest
never been
feeling, I'm
in that.
telling you.
Yeah, I've not been in that position, but it must be so. I can't explain it. Like you say, you're giving away a piece of yourself. You don't know how it's going to go that first time, and it's. I reckon a lot of that's where the fear comes from, isn't it? I suppose for some people,
Yeah. This
just
it's
giving out.
definitely
Yeah,
that being vulnerable. That's,
yeah,
I think, when you talk about
yeah.
fear. Yeah, having that
Mm,
vulnerability and to put yourself out there like that. Yeah, you definitely get that. But then I don't know what comes in return, like after you're doing that, because people open up from that. They see that you're
yeah.
able to be vulnerable, and if they're able to even just relate in any type of way and
Mm,
just connect, you feel that energy reciprocate, and that's what allows you, and motivates you more to keep going with it.
exactly.
no, I can very much appreciate that. Discreet. I'm gonna end up having maybe like one or two more questions myself. You know,
Yeah,
anything you come in
yeah,
because we'll keep things rocking. But I definitely speaking of rocking, and said he said talked about it a
yeah,
little bit in his self
yeah.
introduction, and it
Yeah.
is kind of what influenced our hot takes this week. Say
Okay. Yeah.
when I talked to you, bro, you said you were once in a heavy metal band.
Yes. Yes.
I'm yeah, we you and I talked about it
Yes.
very briefly, but I'm very curious to see and hear about how this story came about. What was that just I have a feeling of what that experience ended up being like for you in a positive way, especially as it pertains to music. But I'm curious to hear from your words how that came about and what was that experience in general like
Oh
for
yeah.
you.
Oh man. So, well, let's start off with how it came about. Like,
Mm,
so my first album. Well, let me rewind back. My dad was a preacher, so I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music. So the first album, like secular music, that I ever listened to was Rage Against the Machine, Evil Empire. And I mean, I listened to that thing front to back, back to
Mm-hmm.
front. Like that was like very good inspiration for me as far as like, music and introduction to, what's happening outside of this Christian realm. And for that, I actually had my neighbor, which it was his sister that introduced me to him. He had a drum set in his garage. And I was like, oh, I want to play drums. And then he was like, all right, I'm gonna play guitar. So he had a karaoke machine that for his amp. Like, and literally we were
no
just playing,
way.
just random songs. Like we would do like Green Day covers. And then we started doing like, more metal stuff like As I Lay Dying, Unearth. And, it just evolved from there. And then once we did this like talent show in junior high, I remember that we were called, oh, what was that? Pulls the Trigger was the original band name.
Nice.
Yeah, and then from there, like it just kind of got popularity, and then we actually formed with other members, changed the band name to Maribel, which I had a crush on this neighbor across the street. That was her name. Shout out
Yeah.
Maribel, all time milf. She's a gilf now, but everyone's still the first love, first love. But from
Yeah.
there, we ended up playing like at our homecoming. It was a great time because like for me, like I'm playing drums at the time, double bass and all of that, and it was so much fun. Like we ended up getting signed, so we got
No
signed to
way.
this. Yeah, we got signed to it was
Cool.
in Chicago. It's called Hot Foot Records, and so we did like a mini tour. We went around all of Southern California, and then all
No
we had
way.
to do was record one more album, and
Yeah.
like literally they just wanted us to record the same album. But long story short, the two guitarists got in a fight. We ended up splitting up, and then
Oh, damn.
after that, I was just like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. I was salty, and my homie, he actually hit me up to join this other band. Like, the drummer was quitting because I guess he was having a kid, and he like picked me. He selected me. He's like, no, we want Cedric to play. And I remember, like, at the time I had this girlfriend I was with for like 7 years, and like, I was like, oh, no, I'm gonna settle down, do that. Probably worst mistake of my life, but yeah, that
I've had
I
one of
had
those
like,
myself.
yeah,
I feel
Me
you. I feel
too.
you.
Oh.
yeah, man. So we all make dumb mistakes for for love, or what we think is love.
Yeah.
But yeah, my homie actually ended up buying a house off of that. What he made off of being in that band. So probably would have been a whole different story though, if I kept going that direction, because I remember after the metal band, that's when I started listening to hip hop,
Hmm.
started listening to R&B, and I really got major influences from like Ice Cube, and then going into the newer stuff. It was like at the time, it was Usher, Neo. I
Mm.
really had big
Mm.
Mm.
influence from Neo, like that Year of the Gentleman
Yeah, I
album.
love
Ooh,
Neo. Oh, I
that
love
one
me
was on
some Neo.
repeat. That one was on repeat. So I got like a lot of different influences from that, and then I, pretty much from there, like I just kind of ventured off into another direction. But
Mm.
yeah, metal, and having those breakdowns, double bass. I would
No
be
way.
I would be standing on my drum seat like for the breakdown, and then just jump down and just like hit the crash and
Bang. No
just rock it
way.
out like I had like an afro, and I don't know if y'all
No
seen
way.
what was it, it's called Hook, and remember Rufio from Hook,
Oh yeah.
that Peter Pan
Yep.
movie?
Yep.
Yeah, how he had like the three little blades, like, yeah. So I had like an afro, right, and then I called it a fro hawk. So I straightened out my hair like on the sides and in the middle. So I had like three
Damn.
mohawks going off in it. Like, man,
Yo, that's
I was
cool.
wild. I was wild.
Yo, if you have a picture circulating anywhere, hey, we're
Yeah,
family
man.
now outside. You got to send
Yeah,
that to
I'm gonna
Discreet or
have to
not.
find that. I'm gonna have to
Isn't
find that
it?
for real. We gonna post that. I'm tagging
Hey,
you in it.
Yeah.
Discreet. I got a question for you. Why is it always the metal
Right.
bands, bro? This is the second person now that we've had where they were part
Yeah.
of a metal band who had been signed, and then they broke up because two of the band
Of the
members got
fight.
into a fight.
Do you know what?
Sheesh.
When Ceddy, do you know what? When Ceddy was telling that story, I was tripping a little bit, thinking,
Yeah.
we've heard this before, haven't we? What?
Yes,
Am I having deja vu? I
Van
swear to
Verhoeven,
God, I thought I
Novus
was having
Folium,
deja vu.
Novus
Have I
Folium.
just experienced my previous life a minute? Because something sounds
Mm,
really familiar
mm,
here. Honestly,
mm.
I had a little moment, but that's weird.
Man.
That's so strange, man.
Bro, for
Who was
real.
it? Who was
It
it?
was it
What was
was
his name?
Van. It was Van.
Van? No
Yeah,
way.
Oh
he
man.
was
That's
part of the group. My
crazy.
boy Van back in Colorado said he real
Yeah.
quick.
Mm.
Before I left Colorado and moved to Oklahoma, even when I moved to Oklahoma, because I didn't know really anybody at the time. He does a lot of my recording and
It was
mixing
Van.
and
I
whatnot.
remember now. It's come
He
back
he
to me.
was he was in a metal band 20 plus years ago called Novus Folium.
Okay.
They were
Yeah.
signed, like they were opening for Korn and shit like
Yeah.
that. Like they were on
Okay.
their
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
were on tour. They were up, and I think he said it was Montana. It was either Montana or North Dakota, and they were literally in the middle of a show. In the middle of a
Yeah.
show,
And a fight in the middle of the
and the
show.
lead singer and the bassist or some shit, or the drummer, whoever it
Started
was, got
fighting on
into a
stage.
fight, and they have
Yeah.
never been back together since. That was 20 some
Wow.
odd years ago, almost.
Wow,
It's
man.
always the
That was
heavy
good.
metal, man.
St-
No, it's always the
builds
lead
up, man.
singers. It's always the
People,
lead singers, man. I gotta let my dogs in real quick.
yeah.
That's now the second time that's happened outside. That's
That's
Oh
wild.
man.
crazy. I did.
Yeah.
I was having a moment when you was telling that story, Sadie, thinking, wait a minute, what's going on here?
You're like, hold
What's
on,
going on?
deja vu.
Yeah.
Man, that's
Yeah.
But
great.
I stayed
Yeah.
with it. I stayed focused.
That is too funny. That is
Yep.
too funny.
Yep.
Man, I love me some metal. But
Mm.
going the complete opposite, and then we're coming back to heavy metal here shortly. People,
Oh yeah.
stick with us because the hot takes of the week are built and based off of rap and heavy metal fusions, as influenced by our special guest, Cediced
Mm.
today. And but I wanted to talk about the 4 specific songs that you have sent our way.
Oh yep.
DM, Tightrope, I got them over here right now too. Better Mastered and Triangle. And
Yeah.
and now, mind you, I've listened to those. I listened to a bunch of shit, like I told you when we got on the call. You know, like at this point, like an hour ago or so, whatever. They're a vibe, bro.
Yeah,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
They're
I thought
vibes.
so.
So like people like listen. He said, and we're gonna post his stuff in the comments. But Cediced, if I can
Yes,
spell
Yeah,
it
sir.
correctly today,
Got him. Got him.
go
Got
look
him.
him up. Yo, he is
yes, definitely.
he is a vibe. He's a vibe. But with that said, before
Yeah.
we kick it over for you for a couple minutes, and then we're gonna jump into our hip hop history and hip hop hot takes. Bless you. Kind of just in general. I mean, because you've explained that your music is innovative and you're looking to create something authentic. Which again, people, if you love authentic music and music with a vibe, you gotta go. You gotta go listen to Cediced. Listen. We're outside. Everybody that's outside with us, we're
Outside.
family. I wouldn't lie to family like that when it comes to music.
I'll tell you something else that happened. It's been a little bit strange. It's not that strange because for some reason it does
Yeah.
come on to my shuffle quite often. But just before I came on, I was listening to Spotify, had my shuffle list going, and literally about the second to last song that came on was "It's Alright." I was like, no way, how weird this. But I
Yeah.
must admit, that's one song I have noticed does seem to come on quite a lot. So yeah, for some reason it gets a lot of plays, bro.
All
But
right. You know,
and then
I love it.
sometimes
I
I'll
love
think
it.
of a song in the list, and I think it never comes on that one. But it's just luck of the draw, I suppose, isn't
Yeah, yeah.
it?
I think it's because all of them are so different, and the
Yeah,
algorithm is pulling what you listen to.
Hmm.
yeah.
Because yeah, like I'll be all over the place, more towards
Mm,
R&B one day, more towards hip hop, and then like I'll even do like something that might be older, like as far as like the cadence, and then something
yeah.
that's more modern. So like I have like such a deep catalog to where it's just like
Diverse.
okay, what do
Yeah,
I feel like listening to today, and then you can kind of go from there.
I
Because
know.
like the song Better, that one, more R&B, like almost like early 2000s R&B, I feel. Like
Mm.
waited way too long. Now she don't pick up the
Oh,
phone.
that,
It's pointless. You don't miss me anymore, no. So
Mm,
that one's like more like,
mm,
you're talking to a
that,
girl and
I know.
like, she leaves you hanging type situation,
I
like,
know.
mm.
yeah. So,
Let's
so
see. I mean, phew, anyone just heard that? They'll now be thinking, "Whoa, wait a minute! What did they just say? Where is he? Spotify, you say?"
yeah, yeah. That song's called Better. Yeah,
That's
look
oh
it up
man,
for
what a
sure.
voice,
Uh, and
isn't
then
it?
I got some what is it, like Tightrope, which is more of like this like pocket drum type of like neo soul kind of vibe,
Mm.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like Shawty trying to beat back, hit me on the repass.
Oh, I love
She
this
wasn't
one.
ready for the limelight.
This one's
You know,
dope.
she wasn't ready for the limelight. So that's Tightrope right there. Like that one has like a
Oh,
whole just like
I've
funk
not
type
heard that
of
for a few
vibe to
weeks at
it. So
least. You've just
yeah,
reminded me. It's like, oh, I've got to listen to that after the show.
yep.
Yes, you
Yep,
do,
Oh,
yep.
Discreet.
uh,
So it's just all different vibes, and I think with
mm.
that algorithm of Spotify, it's pulling what you listen to, and it's just like all right, trying to match it up and say, okay, you would like this song according to what you listen to.
I'm coming off live. I'm listening to that now. Bye.
All right,
No, I'm joking.
see
Okay,
you, Discreet.
Honestly, it's rolling in
all
my
right.
head now. I'm like, oh man, I've missed that song. I haven't heard that for a few weeks. I love that track,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Oh
Thank you,
So
man.
man, that's
That's
funny.
actually one of my favorites too. I'm not even gonna
it's
lie. I was like,
wicked.
oh yeah,
It is
It
hell of a
it's
track.
it's what I call those type of songs like yo-yo songs, right? In the sense that the way that I describe them, that they just keep pulling you back. The way that you were just singing it right there was just like I'm just circling back around. Give it
Yeah.
to me again.
It's in my
Give it to
head
me again.
now. It's
Give it
like,
to
yeah,
me
man.
again. Walk the dog. I'll go around the world with that shit. I don't care.
and
Bring out the
Hey,
yo-yo because I want that
and it's
shit
one of
back. Let's
them
go. Let's
tracks as
go.
well. I
the
love them
yo-yo.
tracks. Within 2 seconds, when you hear it, like you fill up inside. It's like, oh, this track. Like within two
Mm.
seconds, and it's like you're never gonna
It
skip
gives you
it.
that feel. It gives you that
Yeah,
feel. You're just like, yo,
when you know
it,
it's a track you're
it's
never gonna skip
it's
whenever
like
you
a
hear it.
drop of dopamine. It's like a
Yes,
drop of dopamine. That music's giving you
Mm.
that
exactly.
dopamine, and you're like, yo,
Mm.
my body,
Oh,
my
this
mind likes
one,
this.
and
Yep, yep.
love
Give me
it.
more.
Love
Give me
music.
more.
Hey,
Discreet.
hey, that's what I try to do, man.
That's
Cause
the
isn't
beautiful
it?
thing, and that's what it's about. Like if people just, I
Yeah,
think, go out with that message and that
yeah,
intent, coupled
yeah.
with the authenticity that we've talked about. Well, shit, we talk about authenticity at
I've
every
said it
show that we have.
before, right? When you make
Mm-hmm.
music and you give someone that feeling, that's the best thing about it. I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
the best thing. I mean, you might get some money from it, but no, that feeling you've given to someone's better than any money you're going to get. Do you know what I
Yep.
mean? That's what I think. But,
No,
yeah.
I'm in agreement with that statement. Most people are gonna be doing it for that reason,
Yeah,
anyways. But
yeah, yeah,
that's a very fair point, Discreet.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Discreet, do you have any final specific questions in the segment
I
before
mean,
I ask my final question, and then we get into hip hop history?
this will be for the people, anyone listening. But when's your next show, Sadie?
Ooh, my next
Yeah.
show. Ooh, I don't have a date yet, but I
No?
wanted like
Ah,
so last year I performed on my birthday. I actually opened up for That Mexican OT. He's got a
ah.
Yep,
Texas.
yep. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
dope.
I'm trying to schedule something around my birthday again because I kind of like doing that, and I got a lot. I got about 6 different songs, not including illnesses songs, but
Mm.
6 different songs that I have ready to be released. So right
Damn.
around my birthday, I'm actually gonna start releasing everything, and
When is your birthday?
just going off.
I was gonna ask that
September
too.
24th. September 24th.
Oh, not
So
long, not long,
yep,
not
yep,
long.
Hey
yep.
yo,
Not long at all.
if you
Yeah.
want said, hey ladies and gentlemen, outside we're
Mm.
gonna drop Cediced's cash app and Venmo. In the comments, his
Yeah.
birthday's coming up. Go and send him some nice things.
Hey, let's go.
We
Isn't
got
it?
we got music to make. We
Let's
got
go.
music to make. All right.
Exactly.
Yep, yep. Got albums to drop, music videos to get in. I just finished
Isn't
making
it?
2 the other day. So
I
Damn.
saw some
yeah,
of those behind the scenes.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So
It's gonna look
ooh,
pretty dope.
ooh.
I'm excited for that, man. I'm
I
really
can't wait
excited
for
for
them.
that.
Yep, yep.
Um, Last question that I have for you, I'm going to let you answer it.
Hmm.
And I mean, you're going to be sticking around till, I mean, we'll definitely be, done before 1, before you got to bounce.
Oh
One
yeah.
o'clock, 1 o'clock your time, anyways. So we'll let you kind of close out the show when we get there. But
Okay,
this
bet.
last question, and then we'll hop on in the hip hop history. Um, any current influences that you want to share with anybody out there, like anybody that you're pulling musically, whether it's a artist from today or somebody that's maybe even from the past, anybody that you're kind of just utilizing as influences as it relates to kind of your innovation and keeping with your authenticity and building that.
Oh yeah. So for me, Bryson Tiller is one because I have both, rap side to me and then also like a singing side,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of combine. He
Mm.
does a good job at combining the two. So I do have a little bit of pull that that I take from him because he's actually combined. Like I've listened to his earlier stuff where he's just pretty much just singing R&B, and now he's more like rapping, singing. So
Mm.
like pulling in the two genres together because that's what I'm trying to blend stuff. So having that type
Mm-hmm.
of influence there, Chris Brown as well too. I like to have depth in the music, but I also like to have it to be catchy. So it's like I want to still bring something that's going to be catchy, but not something that's just ABC 1 2 3. I want to tell a story. Be able
Mm.
to have the listener be engaged. The more they listen to it, it's like,
Definitely.
oh, I can't just stop it right here. I got to listen to the rest of the story. What happened? So
Exactly what
storytelling
happened
is a
to
big
me
thing.
in
Yeah,
It's All Right and Attention. Every word,
yeah.
the first time I listened, I was hanging on to every word because I was so relatable to it. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
you do that brilliantly, Sadie. I'm telling you, you
Well,
do.
and
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
Mm.
I want to add to that, Discreet. Like in general,
Mm.
when an artist such as yourself, so you said, can make a track like that, I think it's really dope
Yeah.
because just I don't know if Discreet and I have talked about this on the show yet, but
Mm.
we've talked about this in conversation before that a lot of people don't realize, and I think I was one of them, to be honest with you, up until I'm at the point where I am now, really throwing myself into music and learning more and learning structure and building of
Mm.
an actual track because it's something like 73% of listeners are melodic listeners, whereas the
Mm.
other 27% are the lyric listeners, right? So, if you think about it, for anybody that's looking to make money out there off their music, this is something that you should listen to. at least in the beginning, until you can, you know, make up your money to then go sing, rap, rock about whatever the fuck you want, because it doesn't make a difference at that point.
Yeah.
You need to make songs that are melodically inspired, because that's how it's going to help get that stuck in people's heads,
Yeah.
right? So that was a little tidbit of information for people out there trying to make money off their music, especially if they're starting. But the point that I'm making here is, I think it's beautiful when somebody like Cediced, as Discreet just beautifully described it, when you can make a track like It's All Right, and you can blend to where the melodic listeners and the lyric listeners are doing the same exact thing in one track, that shit's next level. Like, for real, because that's special, and it's not easy. It's not easy to do that. It's
making the melody and making the track like so in as one with the lyrics. I can't explain what I mean, but do you know what I mean? The feeling of the music is exactly what the lyrics are saying. Do you know what I mean? It's that's the best way I can describe it.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah,
It is.
that goes back to me, like when I'm producing. So I make the beat in the mindset of how I'm feeling, and then when I go to write, I'm in that same mindset. So it's just hand in hand.
And it works. Yeah. And that goes to show it works.
Man, so kudos, because man, I built a song like that this summer, and it took me, now again, like I've been writing for a couple years, but I've really been writing, and I started producing music, or you know, recording the music, I guess you said back in March, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. But in June and July is the first time that I had somebody who was like, this is how we're going to build and structure a song. And it was so different for me. It was a completely different process. Like it was a complete 180 from what I had been accustomed to. And it's fucking hard. At least for me, that first time you do it. Like I could do it a little easier now because I understand it now. I get it. But man, that's hard. It's a challenge. It's a challenge, and it's special when you can really tap into a message of music that way, and blend all the different types of listeners, which again are pretty much just two: the lyric listeners and those that listen to it for the melody and just the catchiness.
That's exactly how I felt, Mike, when I first made a beat though as well. The first time I got into it, I thought, oh my God, this is like, God, how am I going to do this? But I was so determined. And it took me, I would say, about 2 years to start really getting my head around what's going on here. And how, well, I say 2 years to the point where it took me 2 years to start doing things without thinking about what I was, you're thinking about it. Do you see what I mean? You're just doing it very quickly now. It's like, I know what I'm doing, and you've made a beat in an hour, a very good one. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it took me about 2 years to get to that level.
That repetition, man. I'm telling you, because there's so many nuances, like from just making a loop to making a whole song.
Exactly.
Where, you know, you have dynamics within the song, and then that's not even including mixing, you know, the damn thing. You know, so it's audible.
All your levels and mixing and mastering. Because that's another thing I used to do at first. I remember my first few tracks, I just made the beat. I didn't master nothing. And I used to keep thinking, oh, it's all like, why is that so loud? How do I get this to and like, but yeah, it all comes with learning, doesn't it? All learning. All learning.
It's the beautiful thing about getting that experience, man. So, and I'm sure there's going to be other thing comes up, but now we are definitely going to close out the show with Cediced, but he's going to be sticking around for hip hop history and our hot takes. So, with that said, Discreet, before you go and talk about the hot takes, we're just going to get, you know, hip hop history in general from the last 51 plus years at this point, anything that's come up in these couple days. Anybody out there watching with us, if there's something that sparks a memory or a thought or a reason that you love that song or something that it helped you relate to, share it with us in the comments. Share it with us in the comments, because we're about to do the same for you guys. We're outside. Let's have some conversation. So that's what our hip hop history segment is all about. So, Discreet, with that said, man, I'm gonna pass it over to you for hip hop history, bro.
Cool, bro. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read up to, it's Thursday today, so I'm gonna go from Monday to Thursday and what I've got so far, and I'll read out the rest on Sunday. But Yeah, only 3, but they're all very interesting. September the 2nd on 1997, which would have been this Monday, but not necessarily a Monday when this come out. Master P released his 6th album, Ghetto D. Master P, he's a legend, isn't he? He is a legend.
Yeah.
But September 3rd, 1991, Naughty by Nature released their 2nd self-titled album. Now, I'll tell you something about this that I learned today. I've never known anyone to come out with a 2nd self-titled album. I just thought that's your first album. And then you name it something. But I didn't know Naughty by Nature had their first 2 albums were self-titled.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
I never knew that either.
Yeah.
No, September. What have I written there? I can't understand my own writing.
You can't understand your own English? Is that what you're saying?
September the 5th. I thought I'm looking at it saying September S. What the fuck? It's September 5th. 1989. Young MC released Stone Cold Rhyming. That was his debut album. What are you laughing at, bro? Me?
You, bro, you.
September S.
All right, let me gather myself. All right.
See, this is what I mean. I'll look up and everyone's pissing herself, and I'm like, what? And they're like, you're funny, you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, bro. I needed that.
That's all right. But yeah, did you catch the September S?
You said
1989.
Something about Young MC? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah. Released Stone Cold Rhyming, the album.
Okay. All right. So why don't we do this? Since there's only 3 this week, Ceded, as the guest, we're gonna let you go first. Anything that sticks out of these 3 hip hop history moments today that you just kind of want to just speak to, or just jog a memory or something like that at all?
Yeah. And no birthdays.
Well, really, that masterpiece stuck out to me the most, because I mean that would be the one that I actually listened to, but I listened to that later on down the line, because remember I wasn't allowed to listen to music at the time, so it was like I was backtracking on stuff. And then even the Naughty by Nature, though, I didn't realize that they had 2 albums that were self-titled like that.
I didn't.
Okay.
I've never known anyone to do that. That's the first time I've ever heard of it.
So that's just wild to me. I'm just like, oh, I didn't even know it. I probably just thought it was the same CD twice. Like,
isn't it? Yeah.
Right, and maybe just rebranded or something like that.
Yeah. It's the same shit.
They came out with the double disc, when I'm listening to it. So I didn't even notice that. I'm like, oh.
Everyone's going to be going back now for the history, aren't they? Checking them out.
B of the CD that they forgot to put on the first episode, so we're just going to release it as side CD.
Yeah. I was just like, double
but it's
disc.
crazy.
Right, cool.
Man, I learned something also today, and I didn't even know what hip hop history was going to be. So I guess I was just meant to learn this today. Master P's first album was actually released by a Richmond, I'm pretty sure it was Richmond, California, record company called In a Minute Records, back before he was, he created No Limit, of course, and everything that he is today. Like, one thing that really stands out to me, again, he said, like you were saying, like, for me, No Limit, Master P got big. I was in high school at the time. So, like, I mean, that's when, like, it really made that wave. So I always have been a fan of the music for that, and just how he came onto the scene and how No Limit as a whole came onto the scene. But to see where he is in 2024 with all the brands that he has out there and the brand that is Master P,
man,
like, kudos. Like, we talked about branding earlier in this conversation. We talked about marketing yourself. We talked about if you want something, you have to work for it. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever want to just even take just one person, I mean, there's a lot of people that you actually could take out of hip hop in the industry as a whole. But if you want to do it the right way and have, like, longevity for the nice things in life, go study Master P. Like, seriously.
I love the story, the way how Snoop Dogg Snoop Dogg and Master P helped each other as well. Just the things they done for each other. Like that's what put me on to Master P. Was when Snoop went to No Limit. I was like, all right, who are these guys? And then I bet a lot of people, that's how they come across No Limit. Well, people like me, maybe, like in the UK and other countries outside America. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'd never heard of No Limit until Snoop went there. It was crazy.
Nah, that makes sense.
The things that Master P done for Snoop Dogg, though, he like really changed his outlook, didn't he, on things. If you've seen the interviews and the stories, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, both of those, like Snoop and Master P is crazy. Like how they branded themselves to where they can do now stuff outside of music.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a lot of these moguls are doing that, which I see. I'm just like, oh, okay, so they're still doing stuff within the music, but they branded themselves so well they can do other ventures. Still
like the Olympics,
E40,
you know.
Yeah, I mean, Snoop did
like
the
the
Olympics.
Olympics.
Look at E40. E40 is another individual that if anybody wants to really understand it, go study E40. Ice Cube. Ice Cube's got a basketball league. Are you kidding me right now? Like, come on, dude.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and these are
Cube,
people
movies, all of
that worked at it very, very, very hardly and disciplined and determined to get we could have a whole. Honestly, we could probably do a college course on like just those three dudes: Master P, E40, and Ice Cube. So you know what? Maybe we'll be bringing that curriculum to a school near you soon. I don't know. We'll talk behind the scenes.
Please sign up on the link below.
Yes,
exactly.
We're gonna be dropping that. Don't forget, we're also dropping Cediced's Cash App and Venmo because it's his birthday and he needs green things sent his way for his birthday.
Isn't it? Green paper.
Bitcoin? Do you accept Bitcoin? Do you accept Bitcoin?
You know, I will accept Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? I got the wallet.
A whole one.
There you go. So nice, short but sweet hip hop history, which was very informative.
Yeah, it was.
So that's going to bring us right into hot takes. So, ladies and gentlemen, hot takes this week. We're talking. It was influenced by two things. It was influenced by one of the songs that I'm just running in my head right now because it's just dope and the message in it is dope. And I actually have the picture. I might read it if we have time later on. But the song Ronald by Falling in Reverse and Tech Nine that is currently on the Popular Monster album. Of course, Cediced's experience in the heavy metal band influenced the hot takes as well this week. Yep. But we are going to be talking about the top 10 according to PariahRocks.com. Okay, we didn't just make up this top 10. The top 10 fusion songs between metal and rap. So we're just going to kind of talk about them briefly, go through it, because what I really want to talk about is the hot take of the week that we have. And it's a song that's not even on this list that should be, but we're going to talk about it in the hot take of the week. Why we say that it's not and it should be. So stay tuned because it's a really fucking dope hot take of the week coming up. But let's go ahead and start with number 10, gentlemen, if we could. Number 10, according to PariahRocks.com, gave us Limp Bizkit and Lil Wayne's Ready to Go. Now, I'll say briefly, I hadn't heard this song before. I listened to it just to kind of get a feel for it. You know, Limp Bizkit is definitely considered more like new metal, you know, in the metal genre, right? Lil Wayne's flow, I'll kind of just speak on real quick. I mean, it was definitely it was a Lil Wayne flow with like a rock flair to it, if you will. I you know, before I would say if I would listen to it or not listen to it, I definitely got to give it a couple more spins. I at least wanted to listen to it to at least get some kind of feel for it. So those are my thoughts on it, which is just an initial reaction. You guys ever hear this track or have any thoughts on this track if you know of it? Or
I've never
I've heard it. I've actually heard it. Like, so I was listening to Limp Bizkit, you know, back in the day, and like for Fred Durst, like he already kind of had that hip hop flow, like with his whole vibe and
his voice.
You know? So like for that to be a collab, it didn't really stand out a lot to me because he was already kind of in that lane, like just when it came out, like and everything like that. So it was just another one of those songs like, oh, okay, all right, it wasn't
cool.
Well, you know?
Cool. All right, I'm with you.
Like kind of thing, you know?
I'm with. Speaking of next, let's go to number 9. Let's go to number 9. I got down with Limp Bizkit as well. Love me some Lil Wayne, but we're
I've
going
got
nuts.
I've
We're
got a
going
song in
nuts.
my head. I wonder if you're going to say it, but carry on.
What's the song?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to tell you if I'm going to say it or not. You're just going to have to wait for the rest of the
Yeah,
9 songs.
I'm just
But
going to wait and see if you
what's the
say
song? All right, cool.
it.
Number 9. I
Yeah, go
I
for it.
I definitely get or yeah,
Yeah.
number 9. I'm sorry. Number 9. I definitely
Yep.
get down with this song.
Yeah.
Anthrax and Public Enemy, Bring the Noise. Now, some tips for some people that might not know this. This track was actually originally Public Enemy's. Anthrax approached Public Enemy about doing this track. Chuck D thought they were joking and they were not serious at all. And then he heard them. Then Chuck D heard what they could do and that they were serious. He said, "Bro," he's like, this just makes too much sense not to do it. And that's how that track came together. And it's a classic, 88, 89, maybe something like that, give or take, if my memory
Mm,
serves me correctly. Definitely late 80s, early 90s. Definitely, seems politically driven,
mm,
which I love messages like that when somebody has the balls to open up their mouth and say that shit.
exactly.
Um, but I
Yeah.
definitely get down with the song. Familiarity that you have or don't have with the song. Said we'll go with you first, sir.
Oh yeah. So that song I believe I actually first heard that it was on Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So
No
like
way.
I like to skateboard. So yeah, I was like playing the game and random songs we played, but I just remember that one in particular. I was just like, oh, this was cool. Like,
I
and
probably have heard it
there's
then.
a there's a few of them on Tony Hawk Pro Skater that kind of came about. That I was like, okay, let me kind of delve in. But yeah, I remember that one actually from playing that game. So that I was influenced actually through skateboarding.
Yeah.
Just to even discover that song. So it kind of brings back childhood memories, man. For real.
There you go.
I'll be on that
Discreet,
game
any
for hours.
familiarity with the song?
I'm not, but the fact that he said it's on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, I've played that game, so I might have heard it and not realised. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you probably
So,
did.
and most of the
More than
music on
likely.
there is dope. So
Mm-hmm. All right,
definitely.
so coming down to number 8, this is something I don't know too much about. I do know one of these groups, but ladies and gentlemen, we are going to England, so break out your tea and crumpets because Discreet is going to break this track down for you. The Maccabees and Roots Maneuver. Empty Vessels is the track. All I know about them is they're a British band and British
Yeah.
rapper. And I listened to this track. I know what UK rap sounds like. Even Discreet will tell you, Discreet is not the biggest fan of UK rap.
I'm not. I'm just.
It's UK rap. I'll leave it at that. And that's all I know. Discreet, is there anything that you can speak onto on this track?
I've never heard this track, but I will tell you, Roots Maneuver, back in the day when I was a lot younger, everyone knew who Roots Maneuver was. They were really good. They're a really good band. But band? Well, yeah, they were a band, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they were more. It's not like the UK scene today. Like today, they just all sound the same, and it's just. Oh, there was a comedian online. He used to take the piss. Spears, comedian, black comedian, something Spears. He does a great impression of UK rappers, I'll tell you. But yeah, but Roots Maneuver, they were legends. But I've never heard this particular track. That's all I can say, really.
Fair enough. Said, any familiarity with this track or either one of these groups or bands?
No, I'm actually in the same boat with this one, man. I was like, all right, I had to kind of play it and see what the vibe was like. But yeah, no, I never came across this one before.
All right, good. Let's move on. Maccabees and Roots Maneuver, love you, but we're going to number 8 with somebody's that we're all going to know. System of a Down and Wu-Tang. Shame from 2000. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I hadn't heard this track in a while. Listened to it today.
Old school.
Yeah, it definitely has the heavy metal in it. But what kind of surprised me from not hearing it in a little bit, there's definitely some softer points to this track than I kind of remembered. I mean, trust me, you got the breakdown and that shit goes fucking hard. But like before that, it's like it's not necessarily when I would think, anyways, of System of a Down collaborating with Wu-Tang. I wouldn't think any part of that would be like just hey. Not that it's like hey, but it's not heavy metal for certain parts, right? So that very much surprised me. I think in general, what stuck out to me about the song, the true collaboration, the true message that came through Because no, I don't think anybody really expected this type of collaboration, especially with, you know, Wu-Tang's part on this track as well. Like, talk about a real like collaboration of music and culture.
Exactly.
Like, for
And
this is where it's at for me. So
and
I'm down with that track. Said thoughts on this track.
Oh man, that track right there, like so as a System of a Down like fan already, like I went to go see him live with Mars Volta back in the day. Like I already know like as far as the dynamic of their songs, they always have like this smooth little mellow part, which you were referring to, just kind of piggyback off of that. And just to have like Wu Tang like influence with those two, like for me, man, that shook me. I was like, I remember first hearing it, and I was just like, yo, this is hard. Like, yeah, all
yeah.
right, because I'm already liking the two worlds that they're both in, you know,
Yep.
individually. But then to bring that together, it was like, oh, yeah. And then, like I said, you know, my first album I ever listened to, Rage Against the Machine, Evil Empire. So having that type of rap esque with the also the hard instrumentation over the back,
In your
like,
element.
yeah, it was
I
more
know.
my element exactly. So I was just like,
Definitely.
this is it, like, you know.
Yeah.
There you go. Discreet.
Yeah.
Anything to say? Thoughts on this
I
track?
mean, yeah, I'm looking for the Wu-Tang bit. I'm one of them. Do you know what I mean? But I find that with a lot of these collaborations, but you know, that's just me being honest. And I remember this one when it first came out, but it was like a sort of I took notice of it once and then moved on.
You kind of listened
But
to it and were like,
yeah,
so are you telling
Okay.
me to move on? Because I'm
you
going
could. Hey, I'll
to.
tell you
Because
what.
I'm going
I'll
to.
tell you
We're going
what.
to number 6. No, go
I'll,
ahead. Go
do
ahead. What
you
you
want a
got?
clue as to who I'm expecting to be in here?
Yes.
Jay-Z. That's not a clue. That's a giveaway, isn't it?
I don't
Oh,
think.
yeah, it might be a
I think
giveaway.
you've been
He's like,
drinking
and the next one,
I'm
too
Jay-Z.
much
getting
No.
tea and
very
eating too many
tired.
crumpets today. Because that was not a clue. You just gave me the
Yeah.
fucking answer.
As I said, I was like, was that a clue? Was it, Rob? That was a good
Well,
clue, wasn't it?
well, like
Oh,
all
man.
good things, my friend, you are gonna have to wait because we have to go
Okay,
to
no,
number 6.
cool.
Number 6.
I'm
We're
very
going.
tired.
We're actually sticking with you in England. The Streets
Right.
and Muse. Who
Oh,
knows who?
yeah.
Very, you know, the Muse is known obviously as a very alt rock type
Yeah.
of sound, very innovative, very different. To
There's no
me,
one like the
listening to
street.
this, to this one sounded to me almost kind of like a Beck meets a very, very, very fast British rapper. That's what it sounded like to me. So those are kind of my thoughts. Discreet, anything that you could share about these lovely British friends of ours, the Streets and
Oh,
Muse? Who
just
knows who?
the streets is like one of the most unique acts like
Mm-hmm.
ever. Just brilliant. His last album, I can't remember what it's called, but I've got it on CD, and it's like you could pull out 100 albums, and that would be one of the most unique in all them albums you'll listen to. It's just so different what he
I
does.
definitely heard that. I'm actually gonna go back and listen to this one again. I actually
Yeah.
like this one. I like this one, so I'm gonna go back and.
Have you? Were you into the street at all?
I
No,
was
I was
not.
going to say if you were. I can't remember what it was called, but the album cover, it just had a picture of this fucking beautiful car on the front. I can't remember what the car would have been, but it was just, yeah, it's quite an iconic cover, to be honest. But
There you go.
the streets are legendary.
He said any familiarity, excuse me, with
Hmm.
this track or you know, these bands that you could kind of just anything that you would want to add
Um,
if you know enough of them.
Hmm.
no. I actually, well, I've heard of Muse before. I've, you know, listened to their music, but the Streets, no, I haven't actually heard the song before. You know, I saw the list and everything. You know, I tapped in. I'm like, it's a decent song and everything like that, but yeah, it never was one of that just came up on the radar
Mm-hmm.
like when it came out. You know, so that one, you know, it's like I guess I missed out on that. You
Um,
know, but you know, respectable for Muse. I respect them as, you know, artists. You know, so I feel like, you know, this was a good one.
no,
This was
I'm
one of the
with you.
better
That's
ones
why I
on the
said
list.
I definitely want to go back and actually like listen to it. You know,
Hmm.
to give a real, at least for me, if nothing else, just a real. Hey, I'll fuck with something like this, or I won't. You know.
Hmm.
I'll tell you this. I'll fuck with this next track. Limp Bizkit makes the list again. and one of the Wu-Tang members makes the list again, and that is Method Man. We got Limp Bizkit and Method Man in together now.
Yeah, no.
I don't got much to say other than it's like if
Awesome.
you don't know that song, people, we got to close the door on you. You're not allowed outside with us. This is just one of those moments. Like if you're down with hip hop, like if you don't know this song,
sorry,
you're not welcome with us anymore.
I don't know. Does Eminem get on with Fred Durst now? I'm sure they've sorted that out, haven't they? I don't know.
I don't know.
To be honest,
I'll call them both up after this. And
yeah,
okay.
have a word, Mike. Yeah. Have a word.
Yeah.
Done. I'll have an answer for you by Sunday's show.
All right.
Cool.
Man, I used to walk around saying, "Shut the fuck up!" Like,
yeah,
man. Like,
there's so many like catchy catch lines from that. Like, they put that song together very, very well.
Yeah.
I will fuck with that song every day. No
Method
problem.
Man is my favorite member of the Wu-Tang as well. He's
pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
Number 4, both these people this group and this individual have already been mentioned today on the show. So they're going to be mentioned again, and rightly so. Korn and Ice Cube's Children of the Corn. So you got the pioneers, I think that, and let me know if I'm speaking out of turn, but I think I'm okay to say the pioneers of nu metal, Korn, teaming up with Ice Cube. We don't have to. Ice Cube. They teamed up together and gave us Children of the Corn. Cube vocals were dope. It was a very West Coasty vibe. To me, I thought from all of the music itself, taking the lyrics away from all 10 of these on this list, I think I love the vibe of this track the absolute most. Yeah. Personally. That's me.
It is.
I got you. I feel you on that. Like, honestly, like, my top 2 was that All In Together Now and this one right here. So for like as far as the musicality of both individuals and what they did as a collab, like a lot of them were almost like lacking in their own originality. Like I feel like they almost they compromised their own selves to try to make a collab versus like in these 2 collabs, this one at least in particular, like Korn, like you knew that was Korn. Ice Cube, you knew that was Ice Cube, and the way they blended it was just immaculate. Like they didn't sub. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go a little bit less on our end, or no, they both came hard. They both came with their flavor as we knew it, and really made that motherfucker bang.
Exactly. They did, and I want to make a point in Discreet. We're going to get to your thoughts. We talked about building a song.
Unfortunately, like really bro, I'm going to have to leave in about 5 minutes to get Ellie, unfortunately.
All good.
All
right. We were talking about building a song where you can get like both ends of the spectrum essentially built together, and I think it's fair to say most people would agree. You can say something along the lines of rap and heavy metal are kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum, right?
Yeah, the cultures are quite similar, though.
So
I think
for them to be able, to the point that you made, to come together and make a track like this that they did, where the individuality of each band member and individual were married together to give us this. I mean, that's as close to a perfect song if there's not such a thing as you could possibly get, in my opinion, with this track.
Like, yep, 100%, man, 100%.
Discreet, any thoughts on this song?
Just reiterate what you guys said. Really, it's a classic, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
Where rock and rap can stand.
Right. So here's what we're gonna do.
That one.
I want Discreet in on the number 1 thing. So number 3, we don't have to say too much about, right? It ends up being, I think this is the most famous of all of them. It's not necessarily metal per se. It's definitely more rock, but it needs its credit. Aerosmith and Run DMC's Walk This Way. First hip hop track ever to make the top 5 Billboard Hot 100.
Damn, didn't know that.
Yeah, crazy. I remember the
video.
But
it makes sense. It does make sense.
I mean, like I see Steven Tyler like kicking down the brick wall now, and like peeking through in the video, So I don't think there's much that needs to be said about that. Number 2, I think this is where you're going, Discreet. Not much to say about this either. Jay-Z and Linkin Park,
Yeah,
Numb.
Linkin Park. Numb, was it?
And
Because that's
yep,
what
Numb.
my clue was meant to be. I'll try and think of it without being stuttery now. It's just a question of what song off the album it would have been, because it was a collaboration album.
It was
But
an
I just
EP,
blurted out
Collision
Jay-Z.
Course. Yep.
Yeah, that was it.
Collision
Collision Course.
Course.
Yeah.
Collision Course 2004
And it
EP
was
between Jay-Z and
Numb.
Linkin Park. It was
But
Numb. Yep.
Numb,
Mm-hmm.
the one that, because they released, there was quite a lot of them come out on single, didn't they? Or like 3 or 4 different ones came out as singles. Yeah.
And number one, what I love about number one is the most, because we got to learn something about Cediced today. The first album that he was not supposed to listen to that I listened to, and Discreet, one of, if not the first albums of hip hop that you've ever listened to.
Right.
Those two groups made a collaboration track, and those two groups are Rage Against the
Cypress
Machine
Hill?
and Cypress Hill,
Yay.
and they gave us How I Can Just Kill a Man.
Yeah.
Oh man, fuck! Like it's legendary. It's just, oh man.
So I mean,
I can't believe I thought of Jay-Z before Cypress Hill. Of course, Cypress Hill was going to be on this list. Of course, Cypress Hill was going to be in here.
A couple quick things that I have. Cypress Hill's first major hit. It was actually later covered by Rage Against the Machine, and of course, they made it very much more aggressive than the original. But man, I can't say much more than those couple things. Said any quick thoughts on this track at all?
Just like that was another great one, because I mean the energy that both of them bring, like, because I mean Cypress Hill, like I remember seeing them live, like, you know, just by themselves. Like, they know how to rock the crowd. Like, they already have that vibe.
I'll tell you a quick
you
story.
feel like you want to mosh, you know?
I seen them live, and when it was their set, they came on stage and everything fucked up on them, the sound system, and they improvised on the spot, got the drum kit out, and they just done a drum set, and it blew everyone away. They just improvised there and then. They just decided there and then, get the drums out, we're gonna just do, and they just got on the drums and went wild on the drums. It was crazy. Memories.
All right, so that's the top 10 as according to PariahRocks.com. It was dope learning some of the history behind some of these tracks that I've maybe either learned for the first time or kind of just rediscovered, you know, as well. And so this is now going to lead us into the hot take of the week. And there was a track that was not on this top 10 that I think should be in this top 10. And I think, as we all spoke earlier, we probably all agree that it should be in the top 10. So the hot take of the week is this song is not in the top 10 and does not get the notoriety that it needs, because the hot take of the week is there is racism, definitely everywhere, but specifically in heavy metal, because we are talking about Ice-T's and Body Count's Cop Killer that was released in the early 90s. Couple quick things that I want to share as to why I'm making that hot take of the week. And Discreet, I know you end up having to pop off, so if you got to pop off.
No, I'm just going to check. Oh, no, it's all good. Yeah, I can hang on a minute.
Perfect. So, very much to that statement, Ice-T loves heavy metal. He loves rock. That's what influenced him to make this track with Body Count. The track Cop Killer is not, again, people, you got to open up a book and read. Don't just judge the book by its cover, because Cop Killer is actually a track that goes against police brutality and the injustices that are then, now, will, you know, are continuing to be against individuals of color, okay? And specifically in his track, of black people, okay? And the fact of the matter is, you send a message like that out there to, again, the masses in general, but now specifically something like heavy metal, where let's be real, it's pretty predominantly white. Heavy metal is, okay? Most specifically back then, a little different today, but in the grand scheme of things, that's just kind of the way it is. And you know, he was kind of like, heavy metal kind of just like turned their backs on Ice-T when it came to this song, and wanted nothing to do with it, to the point where there was so much backlash going on that Ice-T actually had this track removed from Body Count's self-titled debut album in 1992. So
That's
that's the context of my hot take of the week. But this song does not get the credit, never did get the credit that it did back then that it should have because of very much racism in general. So maybe it's a double hot take. Okay, let's call it the double hot take of the week. Racism in general, and most specifically racism in heavy metal. That's my hot take of the week. Are you taking that hot take with me?
I'll
Discreet,
quickly,
we'll let you go first
yeah.
because you got to bounce here in a minute.
I'll quickly say I don't know how Ice-T was feeling at that time, but maybe his reasoning for taking it down was in the hope that everyone would just forget about it, and hopefully it was like it never came out. But I could be wrong. That might not have been how he was thinking. But if it was how he was thinking, how about no? Like let's face it and like battle the problem. But at the same time, it was in a time where it was harder to talk about things, I suppose. But I don't know. I could have that totally twisted because I don't know what Ice-T's mindset was in deciding to take that down. But if he was trying to think, let's take it down and like stop annoying everyone or whatever it may have been, I think he should have done the opposite thing. No, let's make people think about this. But there you go. That's
I can appreciate that take. I can appreciate that take. And again, I would be guessing and hypothesizing as well. The only thing I could think is because again, you got to remember this was going to be Body Count's debut because he had the track came out. The track itself came out.
Yeah.
He just took it off of the album. So I don't know. Maybe he didn't want Body Count, even though they're on the track as well.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't want to want it to mess with their their album sales or them get the backlash or something like that. We got illness.
I didn't understand it. So it's still out and in the what's up, illness? The legend. But so it was still out there though. He didn't take it totally away. Yeah.
Correct.
But I reckon it's a bit more to do with that time, that generation, and
you got to think about it too. And I'm going to make this last point, and then we'll get Ceded in this conversation as well. It was very much there was a lot of conservative backlash. There was a lot of political backlash. You also got to remember this was not too long after when NWA first came out with "Fuck the Police." Yeah, it was '92.
Yeah.
So obviously NWA and all them dudes already had the FBI and everybody on them. So like it was just that was during the George W. Bush, I think, or George H. Bush presidency as well. Like at that point, it was about shutting all that nonsense down because they thought it was the root of all evil and like this is going to go through suburbia America and oh my God, we're all going to turn black and people are going to be killing people. And, like,
crazy, absolutely mad. I'll quickly butt in. Cediced, bro. I appreciate you millions, just like Mike does, for coming on. And
yes, sir.
I feel so rude for having to leave, but I've got to go get my daughter.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Exactly. We all know how important our daughters are.
Bro.
Exactly.
You go handle what you got to handle, brother. We'll catch up
Ceddy,
later.
thank you so much, and I'll see you both soon.
Man,
my brother.
Thanks, guys.
Yes,
no
sir.
worries.
Yep.
So that's the context of my hot take of the week. Ceddy, what are your general thoughts? You want to take that hot take with me on that track and just the general message? Because I said it because I believe it. I stand on what the fuck I say. So that's where I'm at with it.
Honestly, like I do agree with you, and I also have a few things I can speculate on in regards to the climate of the time because I was even gonna reference fuck the police because so they just deliberately said fuck the police which brought upon FBI, all of that, plus the society. Now they were in a hip hop genre which is mainly promoting to black people, right? Black culture, and then you got a few outside of that too. Now when Ice-T's situation, he's promoting it to a primarily white audience, and then on the back end, okay, we're gonna bring it back to my type of people and all of that. So if you're promoting it to your primary audience that's gonna listen to this are not gonna be black, they're gonna be white. Well, if you're gonna say this stuff where you have this cancel culture, that's gonna definitely be his safety because people are gonna be coming to shows, trying to fight and do this and that. You have, other, racist, groups, KKK, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
want to stop all this, stop the censorship, um, and, really not have their, their white culture be tainted by something, so vulgar, so vile. That's how they viewed it. So for him, if he's going to be promoting, this type of music, which is, that blend, it's definitely not in his best interest to put something out there so political on the front end, because none of it would have been out. It would have all just been, just snuffed. The whole project. So I think in his thoughts, he was like a safety concern, and also as far as him being able to get his music out, you
Mm-hmm.
know, his best interest would be to take the song away, because he's looking at his audience. He's like, if my whole audience is gonna hate me, like,
Then why leave it
we're not
there?
even gonna be
Yeah.
a group. We're not even gonna be a group anymore. We're gonna have no longevity. So
Mm-hmm.
he's thinking about longevity. That's my best speculation on the whole thing. You know.
No, I think that's a fair point because sometimes, and I'm not saying this from the standpoint like we kind of talked about it earlier as well in our conversation. Like you go through experiences in life, and some things are going to work, some things are not going to work for whatever the reasons are
Mm-hmm.
that might be self-controlled or outside of your control, and whatever influences might be out there to make you take some kind of position. In this case, taking this track off the album, right? And it's funny because you were talking about something earlier that made me think this too, this specific thought. Like I think when something happens in somebody's life, initially, especially with something like truly impactful or big in some way,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, yo, why the fuck did that happen? Why did it happen that way? Could it have
Yeah.
happened differently? So on and so forth. And we want that instant gratification as people, right? To our answers,
Mm-hmm.
to our prayers, to whatever the case is. And I'm a firm
Yeah.
believer that, whatever that X is, you're supposed to learn at this timeline whenever you're supposed to learn, because it was a lesson, but you're maybe not, you might not be open-minded enough, you might not be emotionally intelligent enough. Shit, you might not be just intelligent enough if you're a kid and something like that happens, right? You might have,
True.
and you're kind of meant to know that lesson when you're meant to know that lesson in a way as well, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's, comes from your point that, maybe at some point it allowed him that reflection. And then he obviously went on to do what he did with that specific track. Um, but it seems like there was a reflection period of taking that down first and foremost
Mm-hmm.
before, really, what are we going to do with this going forward?
Yeah. It's that timing, because it was just like, ooh, if I do this, it's gonna affect this, that, and the third. So I have it out. They heard it. I can always bring it back
Hmm.
later because they know it exists. But yeah, I think that move was strategic on his part. It wasn't. I don't think it was more because he was scared. It was more strategic in the longevity of
Hmm.
what he was trying to do, what he was trying to accomplish.
And you're right, it was a tough time too because '92 was the year of Rodney King and all the riots going on.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
and literally, he's right there in LA. So like, it's so many influences that end up going, into one's decision making process. And at the end, it works out because I mean, here we are talking about it 32 years later. And
Shit, yeah.
and sadly, there's still a lot of relevancy to that message.
Mhm.
It's
Man.
it's a damn shame if you ask me, but that's why you gotta what you can control. You just gotta fight the good fight. You gotta keep just trying
Yep.
to get better as a person. I think in general, day by day, that's all we can ever ask for,
Mhm.
right? But it is. I mean, it's sad to actually like take it in the moment, and actually think like, yo, literally 32 years ago, same shit still happening today.
Yep. Yep. Like,
Like, when are we gonna learn as a human race, man? Like
mhm.
sometimes it's like, yo, let's go fight the good fight. Sometimes I just want to throw my hands up and be like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like what
Yep.
the like seriously, what the
It's
fuck,
like
bro? Like
you don't get it. Like, it's like the message has been, like, I don't know how many different ways it's been told, but it's like in some type of way you should have understood, and yet you still don't. And it's sad. It really is sad. But that's all we can continue to do as people that are of intellectual intelligence, and of consciousness as well, that we can try to have this message relayed in many different ways. It doesn't have to be all violent or, all like down your throat. We can, do different approaches so that way people can get it and can grow from where they're at in their mentality and, their state of being.
Yeah, just open up and have a conversation. Like that can solve a lot of things, man. Because
Oh
again, you
yeah.
might not ultimately completely agree, but you know what? To the point that you just made, you might at least have an understanding of why somebody thinks this way, or
Mm-hmm.
the context behind their thoughts or train of thought, whatever the case might be, man. So,
Mm-hmm.
nah, I'm with you. We could have definitely a whole nother. That could be a whole nother college class as well, man. But
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
digress for the moment. We'll digress for the
Yes, sir.
moment. That's gonna wrap up our hot takes for the week, Ceddy. We're gonna let you end up closing out the show, however long, man. If you want to take 2 minutes to say whatever, 5 minutes to say whatever. But as Discreet did, we wanna thank you for joining us and opening that door and coming outside with us today. It was dope to get to learn a lot more about you, your music, what you got planned, how you move in that segment of your life, because you opened up to us in that regard as well. So we appreciate that, man. I'm very curious to continue to hear new music that's gonna be coming from you.
Oh
Not
yeah.
just that, not just those 8 illness tracks. I want to hear more of
Hey.
everything.
Oh yeah. We
And
gonna get.
you're on my Spotify now because again, it's what I really appreciate about doing these shows and having these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We get to know somebody musically, but we also get to know them on a personal level as well, right? And I feel
Oh
like you
yeah.
and I will be chopping up a little more as well. And that's what it is in the music for me as well. Like I am able, once I get to like know a person through conversations such as this one, I hear the music in a completely different way. So I'm excited to go back, spin some more shit, and hear the message in a completely different way than I've already heard it as well. So
Yeah.
so I appreciate it because it allows me as a music lover to grow, and as a human being in general, and listening to the true messages of all the music I listen to grow in some way, shape, or form as well. So I really
Man.
appreciate your time today. I know Discreet does as well. So with that said, we're gonna let you close out the show for us, man. You got a couple moments to say whatever you want to say, man, and then we're
All
gonna
right.
let
All
you get
right.
back to your day, and I'm gonna go do whatever the fuck I'm gonna do next.
Hell yeah. I gotta go to work after this.
There
We
you
gotta
go,
make that money because the bills don't stop. But
man. That's the
first
truth.
and foremost, man, yeah, for real. But first and foremost, man, I thank you, for having me on. It's good to be outside, what I'm saying? And Mike, definitely conscious individual. We're gonna have to do some type of collab soon. So I'm just putting that out there, you know. Be expecting,
Appreciate
Cediced,
that, man. I would love
Wonder
to.
Mike. We gonna have to hit him over the head one
Let's
time.
do
In
it. I'm down.
regards
I'm
in
down.
regards to the music that's coming out, I got a lot of good stuff coming out. Um, I'm gonna say I have 6 tracks that I know of that I'm gonna be coming out. I don't know if I'm gonna do it every week or not. So the best thing to do is to tap in with me. Cediced on all platforms. Cedi Beats. That's my producer name. So CEDIBEATS. You can find me, and you'll be able to tap in Instagram, Facebook. I'll be keeping everybody posted. What's going to come out first? What's going to come out next? When? All of that. My first collab is going to be with Laraka Flocka. Super dope, super talented. She's the one you heard on Triangle.
I was gonna say, is that the individual that was on that triangle track, which
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like? That
yeah.
thing's got a vibe to it too.
Yes, sir. So we just finished the music video for our next track called Safe Bet.
Nice.
So that one's going to be the next one to drop, and that's going to be right around my birthday, September 24th, if not on my birthday. I might just, I might even do 2 songs that day. Who knows?
It's your
Just
born day, bro.
because,
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
yeah, yeah, so I'm going to be releasing a lot of tracks after that coming forth. I don't know if I'm going to do it every 2 weeks or every week or not. So just stay tuned, tap in with your boy. We got a lot of good music already out as well. If you like hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
R&B, and definitely good vibes, good lessons. I'm a storyteller. That's the main thing I like to do. So it's something that's gonna keep you, captivated. And then I got those songs that's just easy listening. You can just kind of listen to too. So, I try to get a little bit of everything for the vibe because we're always in different moods. We're a complex human being,
Yes.
and I try to relate to that in my music as well. And you guys, it's been a blessing just for y'all to even listen, for everybody that tapped in. I
No,
saw
thank
all the
you,
comments
man.
and
Thank
everything
you,
like that. So, you know, it's definitely gonna be up from here. So y'all
man.
tap
That's
in
all
with
we
your
do.
boy, reach out to me.
Hey, he's
You know, I
everywhere. He's on
yeah,
Spotify. He's on Apple. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. I think you're on TikTok. I
yep,
think I've seen you on TikTok as well, if
yep,
I'm not
TikTok
mistaken.
too.
So he's
Yeah,
everywhere. You got a YouTube channel?
yeah.
You got YouTube out
Yeah,
there at
got
all?
a YouTube channel. Yep, yep.
He's
Ceded Beats.
everywhere,
So
people. He's
everywhere.
everywhere.
Tap in all media. If y'all need beats, I'm a producer as well. Cediced.com. I got the page automated. You can get your beats. You don't even have to hit me up. But if you need something personal, you know, I play drums, bass, and guitar, you know, live instruments, you know what I'm saying? So I can get that for you too on the exclusive. So, you know, just get at me.
There you go. It's a done deal. We're going to drop
Yes,
all
sir.
your websites and social media here. We go back and always look back at the comments as well. So anybody
Yeah.
that's even tapping into this not live, we'll come back and we'll circle back around and answer any questions or thoughts that you have. But we're definitely going to get all your stuff shared here in the comments as well. Ceddy, we appreciate it. We're definitely going to be talking 100% for that collab, for some beats as well. I love different
Yes,
sounds
sir.
from different people. So we're going to tap in, bro. I appreciate you.
Bet. All right, my man.
And man, you have a good day, bro. You be well, bro.
Yes, sir. Stay
All right, man. You
blessed.
sir.
All
All
right, y'all.
right, man. Peace.
Peace.